Absolute chaos erupted during the weigh-in as tempers suddenly flared between Rico Verhoeven and Oleksandr Usyk in front of shocked fans and media members. What began as a routine face-off quickly turned ugly, with both camps forced to intervene as the situation spiraled out of control. Meanwhile, boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. reacted to the heated altercation by admitting that the energy surrounding Usyk throughout the week had felt completely different. According to Roy, Usyk appeared deadly serious during the entire build-up, making the shocking weigh-in confrontation feel even more intense and personal heading into fight night.
Just going through the motion, he's serious about it, you know, so I like it.
Yeah, like his energy was like very calming throughout the week.
Yes,
Veteran trainer Dave Caldwell also shared his thoughts on the explosive face-off and suggested that Rico Verhoeven may have crossed the line during the confrontation. Caldwell explained that a simple shove, or a bit of physical tension, would have been understandable in such a heated build-up. However, the way Rico reacted instantly shifted the atmosphere around the event. His comments made it clear that many people within boxing were already beginning to view the situation as unnecessary chaos rather than genuine promotion.
Could have just shoved it in his chest. The point's still there, but you're not crossing that line, and that would have been quite fun.
Meanwhile, Peter Fury appeared to downplay the drama slightly by insisting that both men are natural fighters who are always bound to clash sooner or later. Fury admitted that Rico clearly wanted the fight just as badly as Usyk did, which explains why tensions eventually exploded in public. Even so, many fans still believe Rico's emotions may already be getting the better of him before the opening punch has even been.
Rico wanted the fight, Usyk wanted it. They said both ultimate fighting men, aren't they? So fights like this are not going to be hard to make.
Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren also reacted to the ugly scenes and made it clear that he was far from impressed by what unfolded at the weigh-in. Warren stated that a massive fight like this does not require cheap controversy or physical altercations to sell itself. His remarks reflected the growing feeling within boxing that the chaos may have overshadowed the actual fight, especially after Rico appeared unable to control his emotions during such a tense moment.
I don't like it. People think because you're a promoter you like all that stuff. Me, I didn't like what happened.
British heavyweight Dave Allen then offered a brutally honest assessment of the matchup itself, admitting that while Rico Verhoeven is one of the greatest kickboxers ever, this is an entirely different world. Allen acknowledged Rico's boxing skills but insisted there is a massive difference between being decent in boxing and stepping into the ring against the best heavyweight on the planet. His reaction perfectly summed up what many hardcore fans are now saying online. The weigh-in drama may be entertaining, but the actual fight could become a serious mismatch.
But I'm not interested in... I like Rico Verhoeven, sparred him, know him, nice fella, very good kickboxer, one of the best of all time, but he's not a boxer. If he wants to fight...
Can he box?
Yeah, he can box. He's a very good boxer, but he shouldn't be boxing the best heavyweight in the world. If he wants to do it as an exhibition, go and do it. I'm not interested in Usyk Verhoeven, just for the simple fact it's
Long-time boxing commentator Adam Smith admitted that, while scenes like this should never really happen during a professional face-off, controversy often makes fights even bigger. Smith explained that the shocking altercation has now drawn casual fans deeper into the story because everyone wants to see what happens next. Honestly, that may be exactly what makes this crossover showdown so dangerous. Emotions are rising rapidly, and the pressure surrounding Rico and Usyk is now reaching an entirely different level.
The fight business, and it's just made it even bigger, and we wait to see what happens next. And I'm a storyteller, and I love the interest and intrigue in matchups, and I think this is a fight that the casuals will just revel in. Is it controversial? Have we already seen controversy?
Following all the chaos and controversy, Oleksandr Usyk finally addressed the growing tension surrounding the fight. Speaking calmly, Usyk dismissed the idea that he was feeling any pressure and insisted this was simply another fight for him. However, despite his relaxed words, many fans noticed how cold and focused he sounded after the heated weigh-in incident. While Rico's emotions exploded publicly, Usyk appeared completely locked in mentally, which is only making supporters even more confident heading into fight night.
But he's going to be dangerous. Like all the attributes that he has, they still exist, regardless of his mental state. But I see a kid in pain, you know? I've got to be honest with you, like, I don't see how people around him can be looking at his behaviour and being comfortable with it, and I don't think they are.
Promoter Eddie Hearn then delivered a serious reaction while discussing the emotional side of fighters competing under pressure, admitting that dangerous fighters can still unravel mentally behind the scenes. Although Hearn was not directly referring to the weigh-in brawl itself, many fans quickly connected his comments to Rico Verhoeven's explosive behavior during fight week. Hearn explained that when emotions begin taking over publicly, it can sometimes reveal deeper frustration and internal pressure. After seeing Rico lose his cool in front of the cameras, plenty of boxing fans are now beginning to wonder whether the pressure of facing Oleksandr Usyk is already affecting him mentally before the opening bell.
But he's going to be dangerous. Like, all the attributes that he has, they still exist, regardless of his mental state. But I see a kid in pain, you know? I've got to be honest with you, like, I don't see how people around him can be looking at his behaviour and being comfortable with it, and I don't think they are.
Former world champion Johnny Nelson also reacted strongly while discussing how easily mind games in boxing can cross the line once emotions take over. Nelson explained that fighters constantly try to mentally break each other before major fights, but certain actions and words can instantly turn situations personal. His comments perfectly reflected the atmosphere surrounding the Rico Verhoeven and Oleksandr Usyk altercation, because what started as normal fight promotion suddenly transformed into genuine hostility. Many viewers now believe the tension between both men is no longer just for the cameras, especially after the heated scene shocked fans across social media and completely changed the mood surrounding this crossover showdown.
After the fight, he may apologise and say, look, I went too far, I shouldn't have said that. But he needed to get a response from Anthony Joshua and get him into a certain mindset.
Johnny Nelson later shifted the discussion toward the business side of the fight and explained why this matchup makes perfect sense for Oleksandr Usyk at this stage of his career. Nelson pointed out that Usyk has already defeated nearly every elite opponent placed in front of him, meaning the biggest challenge now is finding fresh events that still attract massive public attention. According to Nelson, the fight with Rico Verhoeven brings controversy, intrigue, crossover appeal, and enormous financial interest all at once. After the explosive weigh-in scenes, it is obvious the gamble is already paying off because the entire combat sports world is suddenly talking about this fight non-stop.
Oleksandr, what he's done, he's wiped the floor with everybody. He's established himself at the top there. So now you look at him and you'll think financially, will he be in a better position than Tyson Fury? No, not in my opinion. Anthony Joshua? No, not in my opinion. The big money fights aren't out there for him, so he's got to do something. He's got to put himself in a position where he's got to win, because he's proved he's top draw. So in this fight here, I think it creates interest, intrigue. I'm quite sure there's a healthy pay packet at the end of it. This is now business.
British heavyweight Fabio Wardley also questioned the matchmaking itself and admitted he expected Oleksandr Usyk to face a more established professional boxer rather than a crossover opponent from kickboxing. While Wardley respected Rico Verhoeven's reputation in another sport, he made it clear that heavyweight boxing is an entirely different challenge altogether. His reaction echoed what many boxing purists have been saying ever since the fight was announced. However, after the heated weigh-in confrontation and all the drama surrounding the build-up, even critics are now admitting that this fight has become impossible to ignore because the tension between both men feels very real.
I understand that he's kind of earned the right to do what you want, but I at least expected it to be some sort of active boxer, someone of some... Not to say, I don't actually know much about Verhoeven in terms of a kickboxer, what his quality level is, but what I'm saying is I expected it to be someone of a decent calibre of a professional boxer. But if it's not, then fine. Look, do your thing, do you, and hopefully he returns to actual professional boxing against some of the top elites.
Spencer Oliver then became one of the strongest critics of the entire situation by openly questioning how Rico Verhoeven managed to secure such a massive opportunity despite having very little professional boxing experience. Oliver argued that many legitimate heavyweight contenders have spent years working toward a world title shot, making this crossover fight feel unfair from a sporting perspective. Still, despite all the criticism, the controversy surrounding the explosive weigh-in has only made the event grow even bigger online. Whether fans love it or hate it, people are now emotionally invested in seeing whether Rico can back up all the chaos once the fight finally begins.
I mean, this kid's had one bout as a professional boxer. You go, so, you know, how can he jump the queue and box Oleksandr Usyk for the WBC title? To me, that doesn't make any sense at all, and I think it makes a mockery, again, of the WBC, allowing that.
Broadcaster Simon Jordan then shared his thoughts on the crossover spectacle and admitted there is clearly a much larger business strategy behind Oleksandr Usyk accepting a fight like this. Jordan explained that a fighter of Usyk's level does not simply take random fights without a serious reason attached to them, especially after already conquering the heavyweight division. According to him, the rise of crossover combat sports, along with the success of previous boxing versus MMA or kickboxing events, has completely changed the market. However, after the shocking weigh-in altercation between Rico Verhoeven and Usyk, the fight suddenly feels like far more than just another business move. The tension between both men now appears personal, emotional, and unpredictable. Fans initially expected entertainment and controversy, but after watching the heated scenes unfold in front of the cameras, many are now genuinely curious to see whether Rico can actually handle the pressure once he steps into the ring with one of boxing's smartest and most dangerous champions.
Little space, and I can see how the monetization vehicle of this works, but Usyk wouldn't be doing this unless there's a reason for it. There must be a motivation behind it. It must be some form of derivative as to what happened between the various disciplines crossing over with Ngannou and
sports broadcaster Ade Oladipo then reminded fans exactly why Rico Verhoeven cannot be completely dismissed heading into this fight. Ade acknowledged Rico as one of the greatest kickboxers of all time, explaining that his dominance in another combat sport is very real and deserves respect. He even admitted that Rico possesses solid boxing fundamentals and dangerous striking ability, which could make certain moments uncomfortable for anyone in the heavyweight division. However, despite giving Rico credit, the conversation always seems to return to one unavoidable reality. This is Oleksandr Usyk we are talking about. The same man who outboxed elite champions, controlled giants, and established himself as one of the smartest fighters in modern boxing. That is why the weigh-in chaos became such a major talking point. Fans saw Rico bringing raw emotion and aggression, but many are still questioning whether emotion alone will be enough once Usyk begins breaking him down mentally and technically inside.
Usyk steps in and will take on one of the greatest kickboxers of all time. I'm actually quite a big kickboxing fan, so I know quite a lot about him. I've watched a few of his fights over the years. They used to call him the Prince of Kickboxing, and then he elevated to the King of Kickboxing. I mean, he's a very, very, very good kickboxer who's got decent hands. I can't lie to you, it's funny.
Former world title challenger Paul Smith also weighed in on the controversy surrounding the matchup and questioned whether Rico Verhoeven had truly earned the right to step directly into a fight of this magnitude. Smith pointed out that countless heavyweight contenders have been patiently waiting for their opportunity against Oleksandr Usyk, making this crossover showdown frustrating for many traditional boxing fans. At the same time, however, he admitted that Usyk has already achieved so much in the sport that he has arguably earned the freedom to take a different type of fight if he chooses. Still, Smith raised an important point regarding the championship belts being involved because, once world titles enter the picture, fans expect genuine top-level competition rather than spectacle. Regardless of the criticism though, the explosive weigh-in drama has completely transformed the atmosphere surrounding the event. The anger, tension, and chaos between Rico and Usyk now make this feel far bigger than a simple exhibition-style crossover fight.
Kickboxing for a long time and not really done much in boxing at all to warrant a shot at Oleksandr Usyk when there's a queue so big. And
indeed.
You know what I mean? And that's the most important thing. The people who are sitting waiting for their shot in line are going to be fuming over this. Some would say, to counter that argument, Usyk's probably earned the right to have an easier...
Wade Plemons then delivered one of the most honest reactions of the entire debate by admitting that, while Oleksandr Usyk is still heavily favoured to dominate Rico Verhoeven, combat sports have already shown fans that shocking upsets can happen when crossover fights are involved. Wade referenced Francis Ngannou nearly defeating Tyson Fury as proof that dangerous strikers from other disciplines should never be completely overlooked. Honestly, that comparison alone has added even more intrigue to this already explosive build-up. Rico's aggressive behavior during the weigh-in may have appeared reckless to some viewers, but others believe it demonstrated genuine confidence and belief heading into the biggest challenge of his combat sports career. Still, the difference here is that Usyk is widely regarded as one of the most disciplined and intelligent heavyweights in boxing today. So while the chaos has made the fight incredibly entertaining, many fans still believe Rico could be walking directly into a nightmare once the opening rounds begin.
In fact, I think the fight is going to be a fun one. I think Usyk's probably going to wash Rico, but hey, you never know. Francis walked in there, knocked down Tyson, jiggled his balls in his face, and ended up almost beating him. So yeah, I'll watch this. It's an entertainment fight. It's a crossover fight. And while I think that Oleksandr Usyk has bigger fish to fry in the heavyweight division, when Kabayel is...
After weeks of tension, controversy, and an explosive weigh-in confrontation, this fight suddenly feels much bigger than anyone initially imagined. For Oleksandr Usyk, this is about protecting his reputation as the smartest and most dominant heavyweight in boxing today while proving that no crossover fighter belongs anywhere near his throne. For Rico Verhoeven, however, this represents the opportunity to shock the entire combat sports world and accomplish something people would discuss for years. The biggest question now is whether Rico's aggression and confidence can actually survive once the pressure inside the ring becomes real against a fighter as experienced and mentally sharp as Usyk. After the chaos witnessed during the face-off, many fans are already convinced emotions could play a major role on fight night. One mistake against someone like Usyk can change everything in seconds. Then again, crossover fights have shocked the world before, and that is exactly why this matchup has become impossible to ignore. So now the question remains, who wins this fight, and how does it end? Drop your predictions below and stay tuned for more boxing updates.